noise. So in theory, it is actually still streaming. Maybe. I don't know. I can't get this shit to work. So...
see how it goes.
Yeah.
Which account should I switch to?
Let's Play's fine. Okay. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to start off for a bit while I finish getting everything set up, because dealing with this bullshit. Hello. Maybe I'm streaming. I don't know. I don't know how it's working. There's people watching, so howdy. I'm still trying to get OBS Studio to work, and it just doesn't want to play nice with YouTube. So, maybe working. It may not. Hey there's people. At least there's. Let's see. We've got Light, Barbara, Aaron, Penn, Curtis. Oh hey, that's still on. And yes, Culex is here, and we're kind of welcome. Yeah, no chat and stream, and the quality is complete crap from the look of things. So, I'm having a fantastic day dealing with this technology. Hopefully it doesn't look like crap. But we'll find out. We're doing this. Yes, Culex came into town because Monday was my birthmas. I am 34. I'm 34 years old. Was that what we decided? Because I can't count. I want to play not Super Meat Boy. What are the?
Right now I think there's just jump.
There's just jump. Okay. Okay, as long as everything looks good, because YouTube is telling me the quality is bad and that there are some people that are going to have
that was
streaming issues. Barbara's got something for me? And happy belated... Thank you, everyone, wishing me birthday. Also, Culex and I got together today with Luth, and we recorded some fun stuff. The quality's going to turn out to be a little crap for part of it, because,
technical dickery.
Technical dickery. It is a day for technical dickery. But yeah. Happy Naval Day. Joyous Natal Day. Happy Birthmas. The worst was, I believe it was Luth that wished me a happy vaginal exit day. At that point, I'm just like, no. So, yes.
You might see things.
How can they see? They don't have eyes. There are no... And we're just gonna walk across here and shit's gonna break. Well, we're dead. L?
It's just push in a direction. Oh. Press Y.
Oh, okay. I just tweeted it to... Oh, someone just tweeted it to me. Here. Take this while I check Barbara's tweet. MarauderEX when dealing with technology. I need a drink. So apparently Barbara says that that's me. What game is that from? I've been curious about it, mostly because I've actually started playing some mobile games. I've been playing Puzzle and Dragons a lot to have my brain turn off. So I'm curious about this game that has me in it. I have to say, I would wear an outfit like that in battle too. Like that's, I feel like if you're gonna go into a fight like that, you know, a sense of style is important. Everyone, if you haven't seen this, I don't think I can post it to the chat. Copy. Actually, I might be able to. Because, hey, technology... I'm going to say technology and just have it work to my advantage today. Because I have this. Like, that's... Oh, well, yeah, I gotta do that. Chat.
As long as you're not thwarted by your own filters.
Actually, I think...
That the filters don't apply to you?
The filters don't apply to me because I am... Phantom of the Kill, it's a mobile game, but it's... Oh, it's shutting down? That sucks. But I posted the link to the tweet so that everyone can see how badass I look at the moment. So,
So, you know, Celeste is, if you haven't seen it before, it's, you jump around and platform around spikes and stuff. You have a dash that you can do in the air, and the dash resets when you touch ground. And, you have strawberries that you can pick up for bonus points.
I was about to say, and apparently the sign is no dash and no going.
The winged ones will fly away if you do a dash.
Oh.
So if you want to get that one, you have to get there without dashing.
Can I?
I think there's reset on the pause, or you can just jump in the hole. Yeah, retry.
Alright, so I would have to just jump up here like this.
Yeah.
And then do that.
And to actually collect the strawberries, you have to, like, run into them and then touch the ground at some point.
You have to touch the ground. That's...
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like a cuter version of Super Meat Boy. Oh god. Springy!
You fucked that up.
Yeah, I fucked that up. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to fuck up a lot of things. So, technical issues aside, there's going to be a lot of this. Oh! I actually thought I was dead. Just thought, bought Panzer Dragoon Order off the Xbox and original Star. Awesome! It's kind of like Viz.
I think the official pronunciation is the letter V 6 times.
Really?
I heard someone say that once. I'm not sure if they were joking.
I mean, it sounds about right. I don't know if I was supposed to go this way, but I'm going this way.
I mean, it's a way you can go.
Can you? I don't think I can.
You can't drop down. You have to go around.
Oh, it's. I'm getting used to the. Getting used to the hold on to things control. The getting.
Yeah. Well, you got the strawberry.
I got the strawberry. Bouncy, 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 wee! And what, pray tell, is that?
The crystals, when you pick them up, will reset your dash.
Oh. Okay, so yeah. Dash. Dash.
Yeah.
Dash. Strawberry. Excited about BattleTech. I'm a little bummed about BattleTech because the Marauder's not going to be in it. At least to start. I did download it, though. Can I climb that? No.
Oh, it's the wire now.
Yeah. There we go. I was like, can I just climb up the wire? No. There was a short-lived animated series for BattleTech, and it was weird. This is just a very adorable game. Oh, well,
that's how you get over to the left. You can go to the left on this screen to get to the left side of that screen. I was confused about that earlier, but I didn't notice that.
This is...
I wasn't expecting that crystal to come back.
Yeah, I saw that they respawn. That's what I'm hoping, that they'll do it as DLC, because they just won the copyright suit against Harmony Gold, and Harmony Gold was told to fuck off and stop patent trolling.
There.
Oh, there we go. Okay. And that was... It's a lot easier than I make it out to be when I'm trying... Like, are you beach ready? What the fuck? In this land of eternal winter. Oh god. That...
They don't come back.
They don't. That's a thing. There we go. And let me guess. Yeah.
I think dashing there may have been bad for you.
Yeah, I think dashing there may have been bad for me. But I screwed up. Ah, it's fine. They didn't win. It got dismissed with prejudice. I mean, but it was dismissed with prejudice, so they can't bring it against them again. That's the joyfulness of the prejudice part of it. It's like Harmony Gold is done with that, and I really think Harmony Gold just knows that they're done with it because they were already told that they can't do anything. Like their rights will expire at like 2020, so they're done. Oh, I was hoping to hold on to the side of that. I was not trying to jump there, but okay. I'm gonna ignore that strawberry. I don't need the strawberries. I don't need them.
Not 100% stream. I mean, we've already missed one before that one, so... At least one.
So I'm just gonna keep going, because...
That was just the save icon.
Okay. I'm like... Let me guess, I'm supposed to get behind that.
Or use the momentum. Either or.
Well... So, okay, so this is Super Meat Boy, but in multiple and you can go multiple paths. And lights back. What's this conversation on? I'm glad when Harmony Gold can stop doing these shenanigans and maybe produce something of value. They're never going to produce anything of value, so... But I am... And especially this stuff, because all of the mechs that they were using, that Harmony Gold was going after Harebrained Schemes and MechWarrior Online for, are not the Unseen. They're the Unseen names, but they are completely redesigned. So it's like, this is stupid. Stop being stupid.
Yeah, it's like, you know, copywriting Scrolls or Saga level of...
It's stupid.
You can't go through the Great Ones.
Oh, I can't go through those? Oh, wow.
You can drop through them.
I can drop through... Okay, that's... Like, I know they're not always tangible. What is Harmony Gold? Harmony Gold is a company that owns the rights to some of MechWarrior, BattleTech, and Macross because of licensing disputes in the 80s. And they are kind of dicks in the sense that they just like to tell other people what they can't do with these particular properties.
The bottoms of spikes are safe, by the way.
Okay. I was like, what? Then I'm just gonna fly into spikes. I'm just gonna fly into spikes. Alright, you do that one, because I just, like, I had the spacing. Let me see how bad YouTube says the stream is. Oh, it's saying it's good at 7:33, so, hey, it's not crap at the moment. So that's good. Robotech. And you know it's missing? Cats. Yes, the cats are missing. I'm gonna go grab them. I'm gonna grab the cats. Run! Axis, come here! Come here. Meow. Come on. Come on downstairs. Everyone wants to see you. Come on. Yeah.
Everybody's waiting.
Oh, that was a huff. He's really not happy. He's like, I thought I was going to get fed. This is not what's happening. It's cats. It's Axis. Rowan, come here. Rowan's off the side like, nope. Rowan. The only classics I've seen are Pokemon and Berserk, if those count. They do! They do count. Pokemon and Berserk are classics. You're so young. Yeah, Macross and Robotech are... they are old school. I'm a fan of them. But that, and, you know, for those who followed the channel long enough, there was a hashtag going on Twitter, explain your handle. Marauder. Battletech. Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star. Those are also classics. I'm a fan of those. Hi, Axis. You're like, oh, I get to sit on Dad's lap. I'm happy. He's been super lovely the last couple of days. Manda's out of town, and so he's like, one of my people is gone. Akira, okay. Venus Wars, Cashern, Robot Hunter. Did anyone watch the new Cashern? Sins, I believe was the name. That one was different. Rowan, welcome to the party. You decided to be cuddly after all. All the kitties are going to be cuddly. Yes. Yes. Hi. You're going to make playing this game very difficult for Adam, aren't you? Like, I remember Vehicle Voltron. And Jess! Boop! Boop.
That was doomed from the start.
There's a chance this will work. I was there when Sailor Moon first got dubbed. Alright, There
we go.
I watched Sailor Moon and Ronin Warriors every day after school. Because, just, like, that seemed awesome, right? Like, you've got, like, a group of people all, like, color and elemental themed, you know, with their own unique traits and quirks and... like, that was cool. I have a Robotech Taya novel. I mean, one of these days, I'm just going to keep getting up and just bringing, like, on screen all of the random things that I have. And it's like, yes, why do I have this? Oh, Rowan, where are you going? Axis, where are you going? Like, screw it, we're going to go do something. Yeah, let me... it's not what I wanted to do. Whee! I forgot momentum. Momentum was a thing. Time for me to get some sleep. You'll have. Thank you again, Curtis. That's not what I wanted to do. This is.
The subtitle of this game is "That's not what I wanted to do."
Basically.
Like, the first time I was playing this, I don't know how many times I tried to do something, because, like, if this is really easy, if only I could do what I actually meant to do.
If only I could do what I intended to do. Amanda says she tried to say hi, but there's no signal where they're at the moment, so... let me guess, this is gonna... Oh!
I think you might actually just want to ride the side. Like, I think there's enough space there for you to be safe. Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that works. They used to import anime series and not tell anyone they were Japanese. I forget what I was watching, but there was a... when the momentum doesn't work for you, there was a thing showing about the pilot of what Sailor Moon would have been had it been Americanized. It was terrible. Why is it not giving me the momentum? There we go. And it doesn't matter because I screw up anyway.
I think you're just letting go a little bit too soon.
Yeah. Classic anime series, Slayers, Lotus War, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun. Oh, fuck, Sailor Moon. Am I not supposed to? No, I have to use the. I have to use that momentum too, and I'm not. It's the timing for the momentum that gets me.
Yeah.
There we go. Hi, Axis.
Let's go over here.
Ham7 actually managed to make something good out of Power Rangers, but no one ever. Yeah, Sailor Moon was. I survived. I should not have survived. Hi, Axis. Yes.
Axis is very determined to make you not survive.
Dedicate those who perish the climb. Well. Hi. You are making it very difficult. You are.
Let's see precisely how many perished on the climb once we're...
It'll tell us how many times we died?
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to know. Have you heard anything about the new Shining game? Yes, I have. It is music-based. I don't know how to feel about that other than probably bad. They're saying that it's kind of like Eternal Sonata and Tales. 11 out of 20. 61 deaths. Wow, really? That seems like a lot. That really does seem like a lot. But I have it reserved, and I'm waffling on whether or not I'll actually pick it up. I might just cancel the reserve and apply the credit to something else. But like I'm not terribly impressed with what I've seen of it so far. I take it I can go down here? Trouble just thinks vomited a bit. Okay. I wish I could keep... The Shining series is all the old stuff. If it's done by... if it was done by Camelot, it's fantastic. If it's not done by Camelot, it's a crapshoot. I have no idea where I'm going. Those green things, I feel like I should be able to get them, but I can't. I'm just kind of hanging out in subspace. Like, some of it I can... Well, I can't really go under that. Just part of my head disappears.
I haven't actually played this level myself. I just played, you know, the first world and the B-side of the first world.
I can look around.
There's a mirror down there, which will presumably have something to do with, you know, the green space.
Maybe, but I can't get down there. Like, the last one Camelot made was Shining Force 3. That was the last Shining game Camelot made. Because after Shining Force 3, Camelot had a falling out with Sega and left. Alright, yeah, I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. Because I can't go through.
Oh, you can go
Maybe
down.
I can go down here. Oh, God. That's a thing. Okay. Hey, mirror. And it's me. I find it horribly wrong when a game style gets completely changed like the last several Shining games did. Yes! That's... The Shining series always had spin-offs. You had Shining in the Darkness, which was actually the first game that was not a tactical game. And then it became... If it was a Shining Force game, it was tactical. That was the point. And now I can phase through that. But you had, like, Shining in the Darkness, Shining Wisdom, Shining the Holy Ark, Shining Soul. You had a bunch of spin-offs, but it was... Oh, you just die. Okay.
If the other side is blocked.
Can you change direction? No. So... That's good to know.
I wonder if it might be some... Those are like, you have to get all three without touching the ground. Which would be tricky. Oh wait, no, your dash doesn't reset until you touch the ground, right? Oh, but you have your dash, okay.
Yeah.
So it'd be possible, in theory.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. It is difficult as crap, but it is.
There you go.
There we go. All three. Kind of wish that they would remake the original trio with all scenarios CD. The Shining Force remake on the Game Boy Advance, it was alright. The music was a little obnoxious. And the card system that they added to it didn't really add much to it. But I did like the battle conditions, the victory conditions. Like, that made replayability so much more fun.
Dash down and then just have to immediately dash back up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's basically what you gotta do. Alright, let's go this way. And another strawberry. This is... Urgh. And Kane's here, welcome! Yeah, the victory condition turn limit was very much an anti-turtle mechanism. It meant you couldn't just sit there forever waiting for the enemy to come after you. which was really fun to a degree, but like it was still a thing. Yesterday was National Penguin Day. Well then, hopefully everyone enjoyed their penguinness. Alright, I can't go that way. That's not the way I'm supposed to go. Is there more to it down here that I missed? Down here. Oh, this is... Yep, this is gonna be fun. And that's...
There you go.
There we go. And I got a cassette. There's probably going to be at least one person watching this that has no idea what the hell that is. If you would be so kind as to get... This game looks attached to... It is! It's a much more artistic aesthetic of Super Meat Boy. And what I didn't know about this is... it was done in like 4 days. The beta version of this was done in 4 days for a game jam by the game's 2 creators, I believe. I put all the information on it in the video description because it is a very unique platformer, and so I really wanted to show off what information I could of it. So it's different.
The beta version actually even was featured in a GDQ.
Really?
Yeah, I forget which year. It was like, I want to say like Summer Games Done Quick 2015 or something like that.
And Joel was like, hey, I remember 8-tracks. I remember 8-tracks too. But you'd be surprised how many people come onto my stream like, who's Bob Ross? And I'm just like, dying a little on the inside. So what's the story here? Any reason why what appears to be a magical girl is moving through trap-infested dungeon collection berries? Is there a story to this that makes sense, or is it just...
I don't remember, and you skipped it, so I can't really help you out there. We're trying to get to the top of the mountain. Presumably there's a reason why.
I think everyone here knows what a cassette is. I'd be surprised. There are people who show up in my streams that they're youngins. I know some youngins, and it makes me feel old and decrepit all the time. My uncle has an 8-track player in his garage where he works on cars. Almost. Hi, Axis. You are unhappy that I'm not petting you. I'm gonna give you your scritches. Give you your scritches.
That would have worked if I had, you know, pressed the grab.
Ear scritches. Yes, look at the face. He's so adorable.
I did not think that one through. It's like, okay, let's just dash through. Oh, there's a wall there. Oh, there's a wall there.
There we go. Yeah, that works. Won't be long before nobody remembers what a floppy disk was. I already know people who don't know what a 5-inch floppy looks like. And I'm sitting here going... That makes me feel bad because, like, I learned how to game on a Commodore 64. Like, I learned DOS. Yeah. I don't remember a damn thing about DOS. My cat's looking at me like... What?
Sounds good. I need to climb this mountain.
I have a need A deep need. I remember the floppy disk. I would hope so. I would hope most of you would remember the floppy disk. At the very least, you know it's the save icon for anything. Commodore 64, my first PC. Anyone remember VHS? I still have a metric shit ton of my VHS anime. I used to go to Suncoast and buy anime. Do you have to race? Or just not touch?
Just not touch.
I'm climbing a mountain. Where's Bennett Foddy at? This is less frustrating than Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. I've been told by multiple people I'm not allowed to play Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy because I have anger issues. I say that while doing hand emotions because, yes. I still have a few VHS. I've got a ton. I could... If I weren't using a webcam for this, I would take the camera into the guest room where I have a tub of VHS that are all just anime. Like, that's...
How do you get there? Wonder if maybe you can go through that wall? I don't know. Well, that's not the way to do it.
How do you recharge your... There, that's... My first floppy drive was about 8 times the physical size of current gen. We, by we, I mean my dad, had a cassette backup drive for the Commodore 64 that he used to change hex codes for various games, so that he could adjust stats for a lot of the RPG style games that he would play. And one of the best games we had was Ultimate Wizard, which you could create your own levels for. And that's what the cassette drive was fantastic with. And yeah, it made me happy. I don't know where all of it... I know I gave the Commodore itself to a friend of mine who was collecting a bunch of vintage computer tech. But I don't know where all of it went. I lost a bunch of it. I don't think I've ever seen you that mad, Marauder. You get mildly irritated, but overall you seem pretty calm and collected. You don't... You have no idea, Kane. Culex is over here. I can't... Culex has seen it. Culex has seen it in person. When we first moved into this house, we did not have internet for the first month because we did not set up with Time Warner cable at the time to have everything set up quickly. We didn't call them with enough advance notice that we needed new service at a new location. When they finally did get out here, they said they'd be out from like 12 to 2. Dude didn't show up until like 9:30 that evening. We called like the main office like 3 times asking where the hell is this guy who said he was supposed to be here. It was not a pleasant day. And then after he gets everything set up, he doesn't stay to make sure everything works. And then he tells us that we don't get multiple modems anymore. Each modem will have its own IP address. And we only have one IP address registered to the account. So if we wanted Amanda's office to have a modem so that she could have a hardline connection for work or school, we'd have to pay for another line. And I'm like, that's not how it's worked in any previous place we've ever lived. So I refuse to do that now. I got so mad at the customer service rep that I was no longer allowed to talk to the Time Warner customer service reps. They said I was no longer allowed to call and voice concerns because I was very angry. And I may have told Culex that I could have burned the building down with a Molotov cocktail. Can he maybe like me? When I do get mad, it's not pretty. Want to get one of those. I'm not surprised Culex would have seen you like that, though. Isn't he your best friend? Also, Culex is one of my best friends. He's seen me in various states of anger, but that's because he lived here. So like I can't be, you know, a ray of sunshine all the time. Jess says hi, by the way. She's
hi, Jess.
But actually, all of my best friends, like Culex, Luth, Pat, Chris Sanchez, Manda, of course, Libet, even Jess recently has seen me in various states of I want to burn things to the ground. Because, you know, I want to burn things to the ground.
Like you do.
Like you do. Yeah, it sounds about right. That doesn't sound too fun. It's not. I don't like being that grumpy. So I tend to try to not be that grumpy whenever possible. I try to avoid games that make me rage. It gets expensive replacing controllers, TVs. I have YouTubers to let me... Yeah, I've been watching... I watched Markiplier do the Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. I was watching Muselk do that as well. Can't stay too long since I have to head home from class. Oh, well! Good luck heading home. I hope your class was fun and exciting. See, I used to do Taekwondo to deal with the rage. That's how, like, I would burn off excess amounts of steam. With, you know, the ability to punch things. And not get in trouble for it. So... my Link's Awakening LPS, the first Turtle Rock episode. I've never lost my cool that badly personally, not with games. I've played some hard games, Souls games. I very rarely get that way with games. Games have pissed me off, but it's more tech than games. Like, right before this live stream started, I was yelling, fuck OBS, because I used to use OBS Classic to live stream. And it worked fine, but it hasn't been updated in forever, and it's never going to be updated because they've switched to OBS Studio, and that's where they're focusing all their resource and development time now. So it's never coming back. And whatever YouTube just did recently changed how it seems to function. And I can't get it to connect. So I have to use OBS Studio, and trying to get OBS Studio to connect to YouTube for a while kept telling me the connection quality was bad and that my viewers would suffer a lot of buffering. And that pissed me off, and no matter what setting I tried, it refused to work. And so I just started yelling, fuck OBS and fuck YouTube. Because technology should work. And that's what bothers me. It's like when it should work and it doesn't is when it gets on my very last nerve. Very fun. I'll drag you to that place my friend runs when I'm done. Excellent. I look forward to it. Autistic, which, yeah, I don't do well with frustration sometimes. Recently in class, reading House on Mango Street. The topic, how do you know if someone is your best friend? Make a guess what the first thing blurted out. Is it bad if I put class instead of class? There's copies of your... Yes, the copies are following Celeste basically just are shadows of you following exactly. So you just have to... best friends help you move bodies. When you see each other naked. Oh, well, then Culex and I are not best friends. Because that's not happened. I have plenty of friends who have seen me naked.
This is Morpheus. Follow the white rabbit.
Morpheus. But I'll try to be back before the stream ends. Be safe! Good luck! But yes, I if that's the case, I have a lot of best friends, because now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of people who've seen me in various states of undress. Oh. And now we're getting to the juicy part of the live stream. Nudity and so forth. First thing, the whole class burst out laughing. The teacher stood behind his podium, rubbing his temples. Well, I mean... according to a good friend of mine, naked equals without clothing. Is there a difference between naked and naked? Because I've heard there are differences. I could just never remember what they are. Naked. Nude equals naked and artistic. When I was in high school, I had a photography teacher who was naked equal naked and up to something. Yeah, that's but we had a photography teacher who very, very attractive woman. This was like her first teaching job out of college, and as a professional photographer, she had a portfolio, both of pictures she had taken and both of pictures where she was the subject. And some of them she had modeled very expensive jewelry nude, but she was covering everything. You couldn't see anything, anything naughty at least. And she made the mistake of showing her high school students her portfolio. And of course, all the guys in the class are like, her, she's naked. And like, she's like, oh shit. Like, it finally hit her of like, oh yes, I'm dealing with teenage boys. But like, for the most part, I'm sitting here, like, me and a couple other guys were going, you're in a photography class, you're in an art class. You've seen boobs before in other art. The only difference is these happen to be your teacher's boobs, and you don't even get to see anything other than what would be, you know, a low-cut t-shirt. Stop freaking out. It doesn't mean all the guys in the class didn't want to see her naked, because that was fairly true. At this point, I'm sitting here going, Miss Scott, if you're watching this, I deeply apologize for the 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was 24.
Maybe I'll finally hit 1,000 followers with these.
Take a selfie with me. I think you should play Getting Over It by Bennett Foddy, Marauder. I need to see that nerd rage. If you can convince the people who would have to deal with me on a daily basis, especially that day, the level of anger that would probably be produced. If you can convince those people to let me do it, then I will do it. But you'd have to convince Manda, Libet, probably Culex, depending on what time we actually do it. One thing everyone can agree, boobs, thick thighs, and anime ass. Barbara, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And now we've hit the hentai portion of the live stream. Nudity and such.
Always comes back to that eventually. Somehow.
It always comes back to porn. I mean, it quite often does. There was a conversation going on my Discord about one of my viewers having a naughty user icon. And I was asked about it. And like, I really have no say in what, like, 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 much like here on YouTube, like, if they have a user icon that I don't agree with, it's like, if it violates their user policy, like, that's one thing. I don't know if nudity violates Discord's user policy. I have no idea. Mostly because I haven't read their user policy. But, like, the only time I've ever gotten mad at someone for an icon was here on YouTube, where they basically, their user icon was a swastika. And they were... But the problem is their user icon was a swastika, and they were also spouting a bunch of neo-Nazi bullshit. And so I reported them for it, and they ended up having to change it. And they changed it to Hitler, and then reported them again, and then they ended up getting their channel shut down. But, like... I've never really been one to police what people put for, you know, their visual descriptors. Unless it's, like, on my direct platform, which Discord not really my direct platform. But, like, really the only thing that I would even really censor would be, like, hate speech. Like, that's the only time I'd be like, nope. And that's only really something I do here on YouTube is, oh yes, guess what? You're spouting neo-Nazi or racist bullshit? Nope. We went several streams and we have gone. Golfing over it, getting over it with a golf ball instead of a shirtless guy in a cauldron. Well, that would be a very different game.
Well, that looks friendly.
It's watching you. People enjoy them and want to be killed by one of the three. Fair enough. I mean, it's everyone's call. I mean, it boils down to what is acceptable for, like, I wouldn't shut down or tell them to change or kick them off the Discord, but, like, I would be very, very cautious about loading up Discord, you know, in a public setting, because knowing that they could and possibly will post. So, like, but, like, it's everyone's individual call. Live and let live kind of thing. I mean, I follow several people on Twitter that post very adult things of a very particular nature, and it's like I have to remember, oh yes, I can't open Twitter in certain places now. Like, I made the mistake of opening Twitter in front of my dad, and sure enough, there's boobs, and like knowing my parents do not give two shits about, they're like, because, like, I'm an adult, and they're like, haha, yes, boobs, like, I guess it kind of became a thing that, you know, they kind of lose a lot of, like, oh, you shouldn't do it once you get married. So it's like, yeah, I'm boobs. I am boobs. I am job.
Is I Am Boobs the sequel to I Am Bread?
I mean, if it were made by, what's-his-face, who did Dead or Alive, it could be. But, I completely lost my train of thought. Completely lost it. His game, instead of Bennett speaking, it sounds like an Indian man speaking. Wow. When I was 7 or 8, I discovered my dad's stash of Playboys. To make things worse, it was during my birthday. But, well then. It was a co-ed birthday party. Well, now everyone gets to see the boobies. It was educational for everyone involved. I joined the live stream to the word boobs. Well, Welcome to my live streams. Yeah, so it seems like there is a little bit of buffering because my stream has refused to stay live. So there's probably a little bit of buffering going on. So I do apologize for that. One of these days I'll get these settings correct. I don't know what the deal is, but and one of these days I'll get chat back on the stream because the site that I need to use to set up the CSS for it has been down the last couple of times I've checked. I haven't checked recently, though. More Boob Theory 101 started by everyone's favorite Barbara. My dad got in big trouble, mostly with Mom. I mean, any of my friends that had, you know, adult material, it seemed to be known by all parties. So, like, one of my close friends growing up, his dad had a couple of Playboys. Not anything, like, really scandalous, but, like, he had one, but, like, his wife knew about it. So, like, I think the only thing she would have gotten upset about is, like, if the kids had found it, which we did, because we're kids. And, you know, we get into trouble. No more Adele vest. Hey, Marauder, you rock. Thank you, Justin. I'm glad you think I rock. Thank you for the support. I love it. I love hearing that I rock, because I really don't. I really don't. I'm glad everyone thinks I do, but... Does not tend to go that way. Mom wasn't mad that he had Playboys. She was mad that he hadn't... That's how it typically goes. It's not that you have them, it's that you didn't hide them well enough, so that the kids didn't get into them.
Oh, okay. It's like, what's with
what's
the worms?
with the wormies?
They turn into
goo,
solid matter.
Okay, that's terrifying. Been following it since the old days of Mysteria. Wow! I need to redo Mysteria. I don't think it's in HD. I think it's one of the projects that I did before I started recording in HD. Have to redo that one. There's actually a lot of projects I want to redo. Most of the old Saturn stuff. I want to redo Knights, Mysteria, Albert Odyssey when I get just drunk, because the random encounters in that game are insane. But I've redone all the Shining games. I've redone Panzer Dragoon Saga. I think that's it that I would need to redo. Everything else would just be new projects. So, a lot of stuff. I can't even remember what I started following. It's been a long time now. I've been doing this for a really long time. I actually don't even remember how long I've been doing this. I stopped counting after a while. I found my mother's collection of blades before they disappeared shortly after. Thank you. Okay, now for today's 101, we're talking about real cup size versus the cup sizes that make you scratch your head. All cup sizes are real. Well, I mean, all cup sizes are real, but my problem with, and this is a problem I've noticed with women's clothing in general, the numbers mean nothing. The numbers for women's clothing mean absolutely nothing. Like, if you get a bra from, like, Victoria's Secret and it says 36C, it's not necessarily 36C. It could be, but it probably isn't, because everyone seems to have their own measurement. If you get, like, a small from one store, it could be the equivalent of a medium from another, or a petite in another. There's no rhyme or reason to women's clothing. This is why I've never bought Amanda anything clothing related, because, like, I'm always scared that I'm gonna get the wrong thing, or, like, what I think is the right size turns out to not be the right size. Your Sega Satellite Display Library and game collection is my dream come true. If that's true, I still haven't done it yet. I have a new toy for my Saturn and for my Dreamcast. I finally got a GD-EMU and a Sega Phoebe unit, or a Phoebe unit, which are the optical drive emulators for the Dreamcast and the Saturn that allow me to play games using the actual console, but they remove the disk drive and replace it with an SD card reader. So I can now play games without worry about my disk drive dying. And I am super excited about that. I do need to do a video about both of them. I said I was going to do that after I got everything set up, and then I just never did. I think that's more of Marauders Falls and Pits. You should play Jade Cocoon. I think you would like that game, or maybe Vagrant. I have Vagrant Story. I don't have Jade Cocoon. I really do need to get it, though. I think that's one of the few PS1 RPGs that I'm lacking at the moment. Welcome to our world. To quote correct, women's clothes are sized by kittens batting around a 20-sided die. Yes. Did you guys hear about Shenmue 1 and 2 remake for the Xbox One and PS4? Yes, I did. I'm actually kind of surprised it took Sega this long to do that. Because... well, I mean, to be fair, Sega. So... it's like, they have no idea what they're doing half the time.
I have no idea what I'm doing half the time.
I mean... It happens. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't know. I've been looking at the possibility of using Sega Saturn emulation since forever, and I still have the system of games. Sega Saturn emulation has gotten a lot better. I have been asked to do a tutorial on trying to get a setup for it. So I started dicking around with it a little bit not too long ago, and I couldn't get Dragon Force working the way I wanted it to, and I kind of gave up on it, because it's like, if I can't get Dragon Force working, I kind of don't care. Because Dragon Force is like... that's my benchmark. Like, if I can't play Dragon Force, I'm not... You're right, Pin, but you have to take into account the effect of larger boobs due to a woman's back. Definitely have a really well-designed bra can help. I mean, what was it? I was reading an article about a woman who... I forget what her bra size was, but it was... It was rather insane, and she was a Playboy model, so like... but she swore that she was not going to have breast reduction surgery, but her breasts were... I don't see how she could stand up. Like, it's... The human body is really uncomfortably weird. Is all I'm really gonna say about that. Saturn emulation is a total... It is! And that's what I'm kind of curious to see, because I know the, is it the Sega Ages collection? Or whatever Sega's doing now, where you can get things on, like, mobile for free, but you can get, like... you can pay a couple of bucks to get an ad-free version. I think it's Sega Ages, or Sega Mania. Not Sega Mania, that's Sonic Mania. But they've said that there's their newest thing is that they're gonna have Saturn and Dreamcast games. Dreamcast games I can see, because Dreamcast emulation is actually good. Saturn emulation is just a nightmare. So I'm kind of curious how they're gonna do that. My brother introduced me to Dragon Force, so I totally know what you mean. We incurred some really horrendous late rental fees back in the day. I actually bought my copy of Dragon Force from a game rental place, and then ended up buying a second copy because I sold the original copy to a friend of mine because he wanted it as well, and so I sold it to him and bought another copy. Because why the hell not? Like, why would anyone stay in this hotel from hell? This weird demonic and satanic... I mean,
I'm sure it's fine for ghosts.
And people stayed in Bates Motel, you know, and he stabbed people in the shower. This guy is definitely living impaired. Dragon Quest 1 through 6 on my Galaxy tablet. I went through and started chronicling the best ways to play all of the Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior games. Because some of them got remade for, like, the SNES, or, there's one on the PS1. There's a bunch that have been remade on, like, the 3DS. So, like, I went through and started looking at that because I thought maybe one of these days I'd go through that series, and then I looked at how stressful it could be to get that set up. And I just noped right out of it. Wow. That's terrifying. My former coworkers and some nerdy arguments pals are having a discussion on Facebook, and it's like, my phone keeps buzzing. I'm like, is it something important? Nope, it's them talking. I will catch up on that conversation after the stream.
Yeah, the guest book comments had things that sounded rather ominous, like, we'll remember this place for the rest of our lives.
All 10 minutes of it. I was looking into purchasing a Saturn and playing reproductions, but I would need to mod it. There's actually... You don't have to mod Saturns now. There is a means of playing backup discs, where you take an action replay cart and overwrite its internal memory to act as a bypass for the security check. And it's called Pseudo Saturn. There's a lot of tutorials out for it. It does involve doing the disk swap trick to bypass the security once. But once you do that, and you get the cart set up, as long as you don't remove the cart, you should be golden. And the cart should still work as a save card as well. Or if you want to wait, there is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Abrasive who is working on a EverDrive. If you're not familiar with the EverDrive, it's an SD card reader for cart systems like the N64. In fact, give me a second. I have one, and I can show it. So this is the EverDrive 64, and what it does is it is a SD card reader. So SD card, it turns your SD card into an N64 cartridge. So it will load any ROM you put on the SD card, and being an SD card, you can store an entire library worth of ROMs on the SD card, and it'll play it on the actual hardware. He's working on one of these for the Sega Saturn that instead of plugging in the memory card slot, there's a slot in the back where the battery goes that in Japan was used for a VCD codec reader, which allowed the Sega Saturn with this card put in it to play video CDs. It was never brought over to the US because video CDs never caught on here in the US. But he has found a way to use that to bypass the optical drive and the security check. So he's working on building an SD card reader that is literally just plug and play into any Saturn. And he has a prototype built, but he's not anywhere close to mass production on this. But check out the video. Just check on YouTube for Dr. Abrasive or Sega Saturn security crack, and there's a very well done video talking about it and goes into the in-depth of how he did it. But I was going to wait for one of those, but my Saturn started acting really wonky when I was doing Shining Force 3, so I got really paranoid, and I just went ahead and shelled out a ridiculous amount of money to get the Phoebe and the GDEMU. So, I opted to not wait. But his should be a slightly more affordable. Next week for Boobs 101, we shall talk about why boobs produce milk in hentai when the female character isn't a male. Well, I mean, you don't have to be a male. You could just have an increase in hormones that causes lactation to start. And yay for medical knowledge. Thanks for the Dr. Burns. Seriously, check it out. It's impressive. I'm still following his work because I'm curious to see what the final product's going to be like. But he actually made one of these things for the Game Boy back in the day. It was one of the first carts like this for the original Game Boy, and it's impressive. I'm actually kind of disappointed that more people aren't doing things like this for CD-based systems. Because thanks to Culex, most of the consoles that I own are modded in some way. I have the EverDrive for the N64. I've modded the Dreamcast and the Saturn with GDEMUs. I've modded my original Xbox. We've modded the Wii. I have a modded PSP. You have a modded PSP. You have a modded PS2. You have a modded Wii. I need to mod my PS2. Because the goal is to anything that has an optical drive, that the CD drive on any console, that's going to be the first thing to go, because that has the most moving parts.
Also, in some cases at least, it reduces load times. Like for the PSP, the load times from the disc can be pretty long, and then from the loading from the SD card, they're a lot faster.
Yeah. It's like that for some PS2 games too. Not all of them, but there's a couple that that benefit from it. And in fact, that's actually something that I've noticed with the Dreamcast and Saturn, because it's running off of an SD card. It will actually load games faster because it's solid media. It doesn't have to take the time to look on the disc. It's only a couple of seconds here and there, but someone did a video of Shenmue on the Dreamcast running off of the disc and running off of the SD reader. And at first everything's going the same, but the SD card reader was just like a second faster here and there, to where you got about 3 minutes in, and the SD card was several minutes ahead of the actual disk drive. So like it's really impressive how this technology can be applied to things like this. I wish I had the technical skill in order to do some of this stuff, because like I look at this. This is basically an N64 cart that has been programmed to read an SD card. That's all it is. Instead of loading the EEPROM, it just loads the SD card. Basic soldering and some basic programming is all it took to make this. And then the guy refined it and made improvements, and then kept making improvements and kept making things better, and eventually got to this product and sells these things for a couple $100 a pop. And yeah. It almost sounds like the amalgamation of solid state versus that. Yeah, that is actually very accurate. That's when you don't have the load time from the spin up. If you're reading from, solid media. I'm currently playing Final Fantasy XII on PS2, so in typical fashion, I'm really over-leveled. The Wild Star is still very dangerous. When Amanda and I were playing Final Fantasy XII, she basically did all of the what is it, the hunts? The wild hunts? The bounty system, whatever that is. She did all of those as we went through. So, like, at any point in the game, she was over-leveled by a ridiculous amount. Like, we got to the end of the game, and it was just a joke. Did you do the morning for your Sega Saturn? I assume you mean modding for the Sega Saturn? I have two Sega Saturns that are modded. I have one that has a mod chip that allows me to play backup discs. I did not do the mod on that because it required soldering, and I had no experience soldering at that point. The mod for the Sega Saturn I did myself because it's basically just pop out the disk drive and then pop in the SD optical drive emulator. It's literally just it's plug and play with that. The Dreamcast, however, I did do some modding because it required me to I had to remove part of the power supply because there's a section of the power supply that powers the laser, and if the laser's not working, that part of the power supply is just constantly on and it's constantly overheating. And so I didn't want that to happen, so I did modify the power supply by removing part of it. There are easier mods to do with that, but I wanted to try my hand at soldering, so I did learn how to do that. So I could probably do the Sega Saturn mod now if I really had to. But I would be very, very cautious about it because I've only desoldered as of now. I've not actually soldered anything to a board, which is a little bit harder because you have to make sure you don't use too much solder and screw up the board. Desoldering just means you heat metal and remove things from the board, which was a lot easier to do. So, but I don't even know if they're still making mod chips for the Saturn anymore now that Pseudo Saturn is so common. I have a really don't like Pseudo Saturn because it requires an action replay 4-in-1 cart, and the problem is there are only so many of those made. And I worry that everyone doing the Pseudo Saturn stuff is going to put a run on those, and then we're going to run out of workable Saturns or workable carts, and then there's still not going to be a fix, really, is the long and short of it. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there are a good number of ways to try dealing with the Saturn in terms of being able to play games without spending a small fortune on them.
As many of them are.
As many of them are. Because, like, I looked into pricing my Sega Saturn collection. And, like, even though I don't have the cases for most of the games, I do have the manual for most of them. And that in itself, just the game and manual, could net me a ridiculous sum of money for a lot of these games because they are just so hard to come by now. And the people who have them are so reluctant to sell them because it's so hard to get a hold of them again. I do wish that Sega released a mini Saturn like Nintendo's done for the SNES. The problem is they can't because they've lost. So they lost a lot of the documentation on how the Saturn works. So there's a lot of people who still work at Sega who worked on the Saturn. They're like, we have no idea how this works. They got rid of a lot of the documentation of how the system worked and how to program for it. And people who've programmed for it before say that they didn't keep a lot of their stuff. And then there's the thing that they've lost the source codes to a lot of these games. And there are people out there. There's the one crazy Sega fan that I've talked about before. He was going on a tirade saying that it's not Panzer Dragoon Saga, it's the original Panzer Dragoon. No, it's Panzer Dragoon Saga. The director of the game confirmed it. Panzer Dragoon Saga. The source code was deleted. It is gone. Because the hard drive that they had all of these source codes on to do the original programming, they wiped the hard drives to start developing games for the Dreamcast. So they're like, the Saturn's on its way out, we don't need to keep these games, because they never thought that they would need to keep the codes to these games. So they deleted them. So, like, the only way they could be developed now is if you basically develop the game from the ground up. Like, you have to start from scratch. Could they reverse engineer it? There are some programmers that think they could reverse engineer it to a degree, but I think that's where we've gotten to with emulation at the moment. I think that's the emulation that we've gotten as far as we have is due to reverse engineering, which still has a lot of holes in it. So there's still gaps in the knowledge base. So yeah, I think that's part of the problem. Like, we don't completely know how the Saturn itself works these days. We know how the games work, but if you don't know how the system itself works, getting the game to play, that's when you start running into errors and glitches and graphical oddities.
Where? Oh, I'm behind the curtain.
Oh, I was about to say, where? Yeah, where are you? What a yeah, it is a tragedy. It's one of those things that as someone who wants to preserve gaming history, it hurts. it hurts me in a very personal way. It makes me a sad panda. I did a video on it a while back. There was a guy who found an original Xbox development kit, like one of the PCs that they used to develop games for the original Xbox, and he gutted it and turned it into a custom PC case, and was telling people, "Oh yeah, there was nothing on the drive. You know, like I've hooked it up. You can't see anything. There's nothing there," and everyone's like, "That's not how it works." If you hook it up to a normal computer, it's going to say that it can't see anything because it's not formatted for a normal computer to read. So everyone was freaking out that this guy basically destroyed a prototype original Xbox because of ignorance. And the thing is, like, original Xbox emulation is not too much better than what Saturn emulation is at the moment. So people were pissed, and I was pissed myself. I'm like, because the guy was just so nonchalant about it. It's like finding a Rembrandt and going, "Oh yeah, this obviously it's a crappy painting. I'm gonna tear the painting out, use the frame to, you know, put a picture of dogs playing poker." And not caring that you have destroyed a piece of art history. That's very much how I saw it. And he just did not care. And people were ripping him apart online. It was a thing. So, like, I felt kind of bad for the guy at the, like, I felt kind of bad for the guy at the start, but then when he was very nonchalant about it and, like, very non-remorseful, I stopped caring. Like you can get whatever hate comes your way. I don't care. Absolutely, it was absolutely ridiculous. But I hope that one of these days people are able to completely reverse engineer a lot of the stuff so that these things can be preserved. Because when I started my channel here on YouTube, when I started Let's Playing, the original goal was to Let's Play games that I had played that I know so many people had not played. Because all of my friends never had I had one friend that had a Saturn. So, like, it was, like, so many people that I knew had never played Panzer Dragoon Saga, never played Albert Odyssey, never played Mysteria, never played Shining Force 3. So like, I feel the need to share these with the world. And that's what initially started my channel. Because the Saturn really didn't get a lot of love. And so I'm really hoping people are able to... That...
Yeah. God damn.
So hopefully that'll happen.
There we go.
Jesus, I'd be throwing things if I had to play this game. You can't yell at people for not seeing worth in some. You can't. You can't, because they'll never see it. But it's so disheartening that when someone points out that there is value in something that you didn't see, and oh well, not my problem. That was the problem with it. It's not my problem. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't concern me that you guys don't get to preserve history. Like, that just sort of wanton destruction just bothered me. You can yell at people for anything. I worked in retail. I know. Pin has a point. You can yell at anyone for anything. Whether or not, you know, it has an impact is to be seen. The first game I played that I felt other people didn't play was I have that on my modded Xbox. One of these days I'll get around to playing it. Or one of these days I'll get around to YouTubing it, rather. Either live stream or Let's Play. Because the Sega CD had a couple of fun things as well that people don't know about. You had the Lunar games. You had Shining Force CD, Popful Mail, Dark Wizard, Vey. Had a bunch. Vey was a tough cookie. It was. It was not an easy game. So, one of these days I'll do that. But we are actually coming up on time for the stream. This has gone rather quickly. I made Culex do the bulk of it. That's what he gets for coming back to visit. I make him do all the work.
That was poorly thought out.
Have you heard of Vectorman? I do. Vectorman was one of the few games that I rented and beaten it while I had it rented. I beat the first Vectorman game when I rented it from Blockbuster for a 3-day rental. So, yes, I know Vectorman quite well.
That tape can just stay there.
Yeah, that screw that. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for chatting and hanging out. It has been a fantastic stream. Hopefully I'll get all of the stream issues sorted out. All the tech issues to where I can make sure that there's not, you know, copious amounts of buffering for everyone, and that the stream quality goes back to what I want it to be. Yeah. I do apologize that uploads have been really, really sporadic this week, but it's, you know, birthday week. Culex came into town. I had other friends come hang out. We had a party. And Amanda's out of town, so like I've been trying to get some recording done and some work done while she's out, which meant I didn't get a lot of editing done. I got a lot of recording done. I will have to get a lot of editing done. So hopefully, it may not be next week, but definitely the week after that streams will be normal, but all of the Let's Play content will go back to its regularly scheduled thing. But I do apologize that it has not been consistent the last couple of weeks. It's been kind of a hectic couple of weeks. So, but yeah, should go back to normal soon. I hope so. And till then, thank you all for all of your continued support. It really does mean the world to me to have all of you hang out with me week after week as I ramble about random things from like Saturn technology to boobs. It's a ride. It's a wild ride. So
It
thank
makes
you.
sense in context.
It makes sense in context. That's all that matters. So yeah. Thank you all for tuning in. I will see you next week for another live stream, and content will go up kind of sporadically, but it will return to a regularly scheduled programming block. So stay tuned for that. Till then, bye everyone.
Bye.